Hello and welcome to another episode of Talking Politics here at The Hindu with me, Nistula Hebbar, where we unpack the news making the headlines in domestic politics. This week, as well as the one before it, was completely action-packed when it came to domestic politics. You had the exit of Ghulam Nabi Azad, former AIC's General Secretary, former leader of the opposition in the Rajya Sabha, former Union Minister, former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir from the Congress Party. Now, he is an AICC General Secretary who has, to his credit, the record that he has handled states, all the states where Congress has been fighting elections for the party at one point of time or the other. On the other hand, you also had the Bihar government under the new alliance of the JDU and the RJD winning the trust vote in the state assembly, but not without the drama of CBI raids at the residences of RJD leaders in connection with the jobs for land scam. So you had on the one hand the trust vote happening in the assembly, again major drama with the BJP walking out, but the Mahagathbandhan winning comfortably, and on the other you had day-long raids by the CBI at the homes of RJD leaders. Indeed, CBI raids at the homes of prominent leaders seem to be a theme that connected much of the hula baloo that went on for the whole week, and indeed the one before that. It came home to Delhi. And in Delhi, it was dominated by the controversy that has erupted over Delhi's excise policy. The raids by the CBI at the residence of Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia and others. About 13 or 14 people have been mentioned in the FIR filed by the CBI in regard to this excise policy case, and a bitter war of words between the BJP and the ruling Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi has erupted. The BJP has been alleging that money made out of the changes in the excise policy were used by the Aam Aadmi Party to fight polls in Punjab to fund the campaign that saw the party come to power in a second state and signal its arrival on the national stage. Well, in this episode of Talking Politics, we will look at what this excise policy that has got the Aam Aadmi Party in its crosshairs is all about, and what does it say about the political face-off brewing between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. So, what has been the story so as far as this excise policy that is under so much of controversy is concerned? Well, the new Delhi excise policy of 2021-22 was launched last November. In its stated goals, it sought to ensure optimum revenue for the state government, confront the sale of spurious and bootleg liquor, and transform the consumer experience, especially for women. Now, what were the specific changes mooted in the new policy? The new policy marked, first of all, the exit of the government from liquor retail in the city. Now, government had several corporations like the DTDC, DSIDC, that is the Delhi State Industrial Development Corporation, etc. Now, they were the ones who were basically selling liquor in the city, and that revenue was accruing to the government. Now, it sought to provide, this new policy therefore got the government out of the way and said, basically, we are giving more choice to the consumer of alcohol by more vendors, private vendors, getting the government out of it, and also to offer a variety of brands, both popular and niche ones, through opening of more liquor vends. It sought to provide a better environment, especially for female citizens, while shopping for liquor through dedicated alcohol vends. In addition to reducing the number of dry days in Delhi from 20 to just 3, it also sought to reduce the age of alcohol consumption in Delhi from 25 to 18. But this last one, this reduction of the age of legal age of alcohol consumption, that wasn't gone through because that would require a legal amendment, legislative amendment. So therefore, just the policy was brought out and the lawmaking was left to one side to be revisited later, I suppose. The new policy also sought to ensure equitable distribution of alcohol vends in the city, in ensuring 2 liquor shops in each municipal ward to bridge the gap between overserved and underserved areas. Now, this is self-explanatory, of course. This is basically to even out the spread of alcohol vends because there are patches in the city where alcohol vends are dime a dozen, and others where it's a pretty dry situation. Under the new policy, the number of liquor vends in Delhi therefore would have increased from around 630 to 850, all privately owned and operated. One person could hold more than one liquor retail license, and the heavily regulated excise regime under the previous policy was simplified for ease of doing business in the overall trade. Now, another change that the policy was making was that wholesale licensees, that is L1, independent of manufacturers, basically were being set up. The revamped policy allowed independent entities to set up wholesale stores. Now, this was not allowed earlier. You had retailers and then you had wholesalers. And also to get franchises from various manufacturers to basically store liquor. The revamped policy was implemented on November 17th, 2021 and remained in force till July 31st, 2022. Now, what happened in that period and what happened to bring this excise policy to an end? The revamped excise policy basically ran into a controversy as soon as it was implemented, with private liquor vends opening up across the capital. Now, the moment this happened, there were protests against the opening of liquor shops in their neighborhoods by citizens in some areas and the political opposition in the city, which is the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Congress Party. Basically, they alleged that liquor vends were opening in locations near schools, religious places, and unauthorized areas where it was not allowed in the past. Many of these the new liquor vends were then sealed by the BJP-led Municipal Corporation of Delhi for various violations related to non-conforming areas where certain businesses such as liquor retail are not allowed as per the provisions of the Master Plan for Delhi that governs urban planning and implementation in the city. As many as 134 court cases. Now, this is a large number of court cases for this very short period when this policy was out for implementation. 134 court cases broadly about retail shops in unauthorized or non-conforming areas, issues related to discounts and schemes such as 1+1, rounding off of duty and payment of license fee were filed after the implementation of the policy. Only 468 of around 850 liquor vends, basically half, could actually open, which led to many vendors surrendering their licenses. Basically, vendors found that if there were so many other regulatory issues that were happening, and they were being caught in the crosshairs between the political fight that was happening between the Aam Aadmi Party and the opposition parties, with the Aam Aadmi Party running Delhi government and the BJP running MCD. So one party wanted this implementation of the excise policy, the other wanted to stop it. And therefore, these liquor vendors said, okay, let's just cut our losses and get out of here. So only 468 of around 850 liquor vends could actually open, which led to many vendors surrendering their licenses, causing revenue losses to the government. On the other hand, vendors increasingly exiting the market effectively brought Delhi's liquor trade back to square one, which is basically liquor trade being in the hands of a few people. Earlier, it was in the hands of a certain few corporations in the government, so there was, there was monopolies and cartelization among the existing private vendors when there was such a huge exit from other private vendors in the market. In July, the Delhi Lieutenant Governor, Mr. V.K. Saxena, recommended a CBI probe into the new policy after receiving a report from the Chief Secretary of the state. This report was also shared with Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, stating that the policy was rife with alleged violations and deliberate and gross procedural lapses. What began as an assessment of departures from administrative procedures led to bringing Mr. Sisodia, who holds the excise portfolio, under the lens for allegedly providing undue financial favors to liquor licensees. He has been booked for corruption by the CBI along with 15 others. Now, among these 15 others are those who have liquor businesses, who own liquor businesses, and even media barons who are allegedly involved in shaping the new policy and extending undue pecuniary advantage to public services. This is in inverted commas, bureaucrats and subordinate government officials, all of them, 15 people named in the FIR extends across the establishment, as so to speak, in Delhi government. Now, around the midnight of July 31st, the Lieutenant Governor received a proposal from the Delhi cabinet to scrap the revamp policy. Basically, the Delhi government said there is so much of an issue with regard to implementation. Let's scrap this policy, revert to the old one, and see where we are at 6 months from now. So the new policy, according to the proposal that was sent to the LG, basically said that the government had not been able to achieve the desired objective of fetching greater revenue, and several issues in it had been flagged and were under detailed examination by and investigation by different agencies. So let us look at the money angle here. Now, what is the actual loss of revenue to the Delhi government? How much does Delhi government actually earn through excise, through the sale of alcohol and its consumption? Now, according to official figures, a little over 4,000 crores was generated in excise revenue in 2019-20 under the old excise policy, which is again in force at the moment. Now, under the new excise policy, which is now over, that is between November 2021 and July 2022, the Delhi government earned approximately 5,400 crores. But the controversy led to a fall in sales and revenue, with both retail and wholesale licensees abandoning their licenses or choosing not to renew them. The Delhi government admitted that it had been suffering a loss of over 193 crores on a monthly basis. Now, that's a lot of money for a state like Delhi. Now, in a situation where, therefore, this was ripe for a political face-off, Mr. Sisodia on August 6th wrote a letter to the CBI, and he accused former Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijar of changing his stand over opening of liquor vends in unauthorized areas. Now, basically, he said that when under the new excise policy, 849 shops were to be opened across Delhi, including in unauthorized areas. At that time, when the proposal was made, the LG did not object to the proposal and approved it. However, on November 15th last year, 2 days before the implementation of the new policy, the LG changed his stand. And here he says, as a result of this change of stand by the Lieutenant Governor, the shops could not be opened in unauthorized areas, leading to a loss of revenue of thousands of crores to the government. On the other hand, the shops that opened witnessed a huge income. So he basically said that, so in terms of basically as a business proposition, this was not a bad policy, but the LG changing his stand in terms of opening shops in unauthorized areas, and therefore those closing down caused the loss. So Mr. Baijar said that during the implementation of the excise policy, he had flagged on several occasions unlawful decisions taken by the Aam Aadmi Party government that had to be amended on files. He said, Mr. Sisodia is trying to find some alibi for his and his colleagues' acts of omission and commission. The charges are nothing but blatant lies and falsehoods being perpetrated by a desperate man to save his own skin. This is Mr. Baijal's own words in a statement. Now, the BJP has been going hammer and tongs at the Aam Aadmi Party, which ever since it emerged out of the chrysalis of the India Against Corruption movement has been a dominant political force in Delhi, and it has not allowed either the Congress or the BJP any kind of in back to the corridors of power at the Delhi Secretariat. The BJP leaders, via successive press conferences, even Congress party leaders, have been alleging that the various things about the changes in the excise policy. They're basically saying that Mr. Kejriwal's party changed the excise policy, favored certain people who in turn gave certain amount of funds to the political party to fight elections in Punjab. Mr. Kejriwal then called a meeting of his legislative party, and he alleged that some MLAs from his party had been offered rupees 20 crores to switch sides. He said there was an Operation Lotus. Operation Lotus basically is a name given to the BJP luring MLAs belonging to another party to its fold through various kind of attractions. And therefore, he said that there was this kind of an Operation Lotus which is ongoing in Delhi. BJP has rubbished the claims, saying that the chief minister was trying to distract from the fact that there were several questionable things that were there with regard to the excise policy and the way it was implemented. Now, the larger picture in all of this seems to be fairly obvious in my opinion, regardless of the acts of omission or commission or simply a stitch up or not. As far as the excise policy controversy and the case is concerned, the BJP has signaled, by relentlessly going after the Aam Aadmi Party, that after the Punjab elections, the AAP is an important political force. That in its attempt to take up space being vacated by the Congress because of the latter's organizational lassitude and the internal issues that are happening there with regard to the leadership, the Aam Aadmi Party may, in the next few years, be a real challenger in the opposition space. Already, the Aam Aadmi Party is basically going at full strength in Gujarat and in Himachal Pradesh, where elections are due at the end of the year. This excise policy saga, therefore, has more to it than an odd bottle of tipple and how Delhi drinks, and is in fact a spirited, again in inverted commas, political battle. This is all I have for you this week. It will be interesting to see how this pans out, what happens to India's opposition space, fueled by an excise policy revamp, which was not to be. This is all I have for you this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Do comment and do subscribe and do watch regularly. Thank you very much.